kickoff of our Black History Month events here at the library. This is a very exciting year for us. As a librarian, I've been involved in planning Black History events for a number of years as a librarian, and I'm honestly probably most excited about what we have planned this year. And the reason is because I've worked in several different libraries, and almost all of the events that we have this month planned, they relate to Westfield. So it's Black History, but it's Black History connected to our community. And so that makes it just a little extra exciting for me. All of the events that are going to be here at the library is presented in partnership between the library and the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Association of Westfield. I'm so happy to have them as part of our community, one of our partners, with a lot of different events that we do. And in a few minutes, you'll hear a little more from their president, Liz Wolfe, about their activities. But we have a lot planned for this year, so I hope that this is not the last time that you're here at the library this month. I hope you continue to join us. On Monday, we're going to have a more formal viewing of the exhibit, The History of African Americans in Westfield from 1720. The community has just responded so positively to this exhibit. It was at the Rialto in the past, and Liz will tell you a little more about that exhibit and how that's being expanded throughout the community. But Monday at 6 o'clock, we'll have a formal viewing of that exhibit. Then on Thursday, local fiber artist Lisa Shepard Stewart will present Artful Stitches, a mosaic of Black fiber artists. And of course, she was the creator of the quilt that is in the back of the room. If you haven't, I know people are taking pictures and pictures in front of it, so I hope you continue to enjoy that throughout the month. On Thursday, February 15th at 7 o'clock, we're hosting a book discussion of a book called Zora and Langston. And this book details their relationship between these two of the most acclaimed writers of the Harlem Renaissance, and of course, two of the most famous former residents of Westfield. So we'll be doing a discussion of that book. We actually have still probably about 15 copies of the book at the front desk, so if you want to join us for the discussion, just sign out a copy of the book from the front desk. And then Thursday, February 22nd at 7 o'clock, retired historic preservationist Rob Lombard will tell the story of the African-American families who lived in the neighborhood that later became Brightwood Park. So talking to us about that history, and it's really fascinating, so I hope you can join us for that program. And then finally, Tuesday, February 27th at 7 o'clock, Westfield resident and president emeritus of Westfield's MLK Association, Danelle Carr, will discuss and help us to unpack African-American spirituals and the role they played in American history. So we're very excited for all of that. I hope that you are able to join us. We're going to have a few more opening remarks here. We have light refreshments in the hallway. I hope you'll help yourself. And then after that, we're going to have a panel discussion from some longtime Westfield residents talking about their memories of the community. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm happy to introduce Liz Wolfe, president of the MLK Association.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? There. Thank you, Alan. I think it's important first that we acknowledge that we're gathering on the lands of the Lenape people who cared for this land and worked it for many generations, and it was important to them then, and it continues to be so now. Well, we are thrilled to be partnering with the library for this month. I must say that it seems to me that our town library has really blossomed in its community engagement. It's in the number of events and programs and activities that are going on here. It's really wonderful, and it's really important, and I think that the current library staff and administration has gone a long way to really trying to bring everyone in. which is to me what a town library should do. So my hat is off to Allen on that. We are really happy to partner with them, and working with Allen McGinley, the director, and Jen Schultz, who also helped us to create this programming, has been great. We're thrilled to have our exhibit up in this room. I think it looks pretty good. So it's really going to be a nice month for us to be here. Together, as Alan told you, we've developed programs for Black History Month, but really the bulk of all of that work, in addition to Alan and Jen from the library, has been our History and Education Committee co-chairs, Don Elcar and Elisa Sanneman, and our volunteer, Susan Mayers. So they've developed, the 5 of them together have developed all of the programs we're going to see this month, and I think a lot of them are really unique and interesting, and it should be really, really good. So my hat's off to all of them. It's been a lot of work, but I think it's going to be a good thing. As Alan said, you'll be able to hear more about the museum exhibit and Elisa and Donnell on Monday night at 6, and that'll be our official opening of the exhibit again. So please be sure to attend that. And then every Saturday from 12 to 4, it's open to the public. So if you have friends who haven't been here for the exhibit and to see the films, make sure that they know that it's open to the public on Saturday afternoons. We had, a lot of people come through the exhibit last year, but there were still people who were like, oh, I missed it. So now's their chance. I think I'd be remiss if I didn't say that even though the exhibit is now ours, in order for us to put this together last year, it was because of a very generous grant from the Westfield Foundation. So if you ever wonder what the Westfield Foundation does in your town, you are looking at it. And we continue to be tremendously grateful for their support. And duplicating the exhibit, which we have done, we made 2 copies of this exact exhibit in the last month. And that's to put into the schools. So this exact exhibit, except for the quilt, is in Edison Intermediate School and Roosevelt Intermediate School. And we did that as a result of a grant, that helped us from the Union County Heart Grant program. So we thank them tremendously as well. The whole point of doing that was so that every 7th grader and every 4th grader in town will see this exhibit. Because at the intermediate schools, the 7th graders will be right there. The elementary schools will pull in to the intermediate school that they're in the neighborhood of. The teachers have all been given classroom sets of our book and a curriculum guide that was generated by Dawn Nickel-Manning, and so that they will be able to teach the history of African Americans in Westfield from 1720 into their classes as part of their curriculum. It is our intention that this will be an ongoing event, just like the 5th graders have always gotten to go to Sandy Hook. Remember that, everyone with children? Well, the 4th graders and the 7th graders will get to learn about their local history. And so that was our point of doing that this year. That was our big broadening, and so we're really pleased with that. So I'd like to close with that and just say we are very excited, and as I said, we rely, for the work that we do, we rely on the generous donations of certainly foundations and the county, but also, for the most part, generous donations from individuals. So if you enjoy, or if you feel like we're making a difference and that we're doing something important, please feel free to reach out to us. We never turn anything away. So anyway, I can say that one of our strongest, very strong supporters has always been Mayor Shelley Brindle. And so it's my honor to introduce her now. She's been a big supporter of ours and all the work that we've been doing for the last bunch of years. Her daughter worked with us in the very beginning of the History Project. So I'm pleased to introduce Shelley.
Thank you, Liz. Yes, I'm a passionate supporter of this project. In particular, I remember when I became mayor and first started hearing about some of the luminaries that have lived in Westfield and some of the work we've done, I said, oh my gosh, this needs to get out far and wide into our community. So incredibly grateful for the MLK Association for having done that. I do want to acknowledge Councilman Don Mackey, who's here with me and has obviously been a strong supporter as well. And just want to say it's a pleasure to be here. It's on a bright, sunny day, finally. It's helpful. I live a couple blocks away, so the library has been a really big part of our lives in my neighborhood and with my family. So I want to echo everything that Liz said about the work that Allen McGinley has done, especially living so close to the library. It's amazing the community engagement. It seems like it's just such a more vibrant place than it even was just a few years ago. And I know it goes without saying that the entire staff of the Westfield Memorial Library has been a key part, and the Board of Trustees, which I think has really enabled and empowered Alan to do the things and really fulfill his vision. And really, again, Liz and the whole Dr. MLK Association for what they've done. What I love in particular about this exhibit, it really helps us acknowledge and celebrate all the contributions of the African Americans that are really in a history in Westfield they're really woven into the very fabric of our community. And I'm glad that we're finally bringing that history out of the shadows and something that the entire community can celebrate. I think if you look around Westfield, we've had artists and educators and doctors. They have played an integral part in our town's history and success, and their legacies are reflected everywhere in Westfield, and hopefully will continue and inspire a new generation and incredibly students, I think, that's so important to learn about. I do think it's really important that we spend today honoring the African American trailblazers who really did leave an indelible mark in Westfield, whether it be renowned jazz musician Paul Robeson and writers Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston. And I do want to do a shout out. I know Maria Boyes is here from the Historic Preservation Commission, because that Langston Hughes home was about to be torn down. And thanks to the advocacy of the HPC and some ordinances that we imposed as a council several years ago, that really important part of our African American history has been saved. So thanks to Maria, and thanks to the council for having the courage to put through what was then a very controversial ordinance. But that is what saved that house. And I'm also thrilled, and I do want to call out Councilman Don Mackey as chair of the Public Arts Commission, that lovely mural that celebrates Paul Robeson and Langston and Zora, which is going to be officially dedicated in just a few weeks, I think. So Wednesday. In a few days. Wednesday, 5:30. If you want to come to the dedication of that mural, and it's going to be a beautiful day too. So please come by. But I love that how it's so prominent in its location, close to where Paul Robeson lived, and next to the MLK Circle, recently named MLK Circle, which I'm also very proud of. I also, there are other folks too that made contributions, like Charles Morrison, leader of the North Scotch Plains Avenue Association. He's the one that mobilized the community. What was going to be the public works was going to be put in his neighborhood, and he mobilized the community against it, and it's now the site of the Westfield Memorial Park and Pool. And we commemorated a bench there about a year and a half ago with his entire extended family, which is a really great moment for us. And I think it's now part of the African American History exhibit, right? Which is incredible. And then and also resident Ernest Talbot, who challenged the town council when the homes of black families in Brightwood Park were taken by eminent domain, which effectively evicted these black families from Westfield. And I know Rob has been a real keeper of their legacy, and I think it's a really important part of all of us to remember and reflect upon. I also think, it's all great to talk about these fabulous people and things, but we also have to acknowledge Westfield's own role in slavery and redlining. And I think until we talk about that and what legacy it's left on our community and how it might still be informing certain policies, we're never going to get behind it. So I think this exhibit and these conversations are really important for that. So I can't say enough. Obviously, I hope you see I'm so passionate about this, and I think about how far we've come even these last few years thanks to the efforts of everybody working together to bring these stories to light. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. Can't thank Allen and everybody else enough. And really, these things serve as a catalyst for community dialogue. It builds bridges, it strengthens the bonds that connect us all, which certainly has been a key priority of my administration. So very grateful for you all to be here today and for everybody that's making this happen. So thank you so, so much.
Thank you, Mayor Brindle, and thank you, Liz, for your remarks. So we're going to take a quick break right now. There's refreshments in the hallway. There's restrooms in the hallway if you need that. And then we're going to get back together in about 10 minutes, and we will start our panel discussion. So thank you.